Hello, mindful people out there. Today we're starting a new 1 month training for you. We're still in the training with the koshas, the body layers. I just made you this nice chart about the koshas where you see a little bit visible the different layers. Very cool. Already 3 months in the training, but we have still 3 months, so you can still work with it, print it out, put it on your wall, and remind yourself to train every single day. Okay, so we had the first month the body layer, the second month the energy layer, and now we're working for already 4 months on one of the most important layers, which is the mind and heart layer. So we had 3 months of training with the feeling realm, and now it's the second month going into the mental realm. And we asked our supporters in a live stream a couple of months ago when Corona was in its peak, what are you struggling with the most? And again and again, a reoccurring theme was my spinning mind. I cannot stop my mind from thinking the same things again and again. I get stuck, it becomes obsessive, and it's really a problem. So in Buddhism, we call this the monkey mind. It's like a monkey, the mind is just jumping from branch to branch to branch, and one thought is triggering the next thought, and it becomes very painful. And we all know that especially when we experience very difficult situations in our life, like a heartbreak, a loss, we lose our job or something like this, or we are in an argument with somebody, in a fight, our mind is spinning and spinning and spinning, and we cannot stop. So what can we do about that? There are 3 aspects I would like to talk to you today. This is really fascinating, because when you understand this, then you understand your mind much better, and then life can become very, very easy if you really get it down to your bones. So, stay tuned. Okay, one thing. I a lot of times talked about it before, but in this context it's very interesting. The first question is, why is my mind spinning? Why is my mind just hooking on to things? And that has to do with, and I post the link of the other video here, our limiting beliefs are on. So we are very afraid that people don't like us. We are afraid that our people don't take our opinions serious. So a lot of times when our mind is spinning, we want to be right. Yeah, so when it comes to political discussions, our mind is spinning and spinning, and we're just repeating the same arguments, and why is nobody seeing it? And that is your mind creating an image of me and mine being right, being good, being better, having more insight. When it comes to Corona, either you think, why is everybody so stupid not seeing that this virus is super dangerous, and why are they not wearing masks? And then your mind goes la 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 la. Or the opposite, why is nobody seeing that this is all bullshit? And then your mind goes la 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 la, and repeating the same things again and again. We want to be somebody, we want to be right, we want to be doing the right thing. So this is kind of like very connected with our ego. That's one thing. But the second thing is, it's about control. If we are right, if we're higher than others, then we are in control. And that comes from our fears. This comes from our feeling realms of insecurity. So if you don't have a solid base in your personality, then it's just your mind spinning is a sign for looking deeper, really going deep, and what is missing inside of myself, where self-love, where self-acceptance missing. Because if you don't hello dogs, if you don't have this feeling of I'm right, then your mind is just constantly trying to find reasons why you are, why you're better, why you're right, and so forth. That's number one. Number two is, from meditation we know that all our problems are in our minds. The outside is not a problem. It is a question, how does my mind react to it? So we say pain is unavoidable. Life will always bring you pain, but suffering is optional. So there are two ways how suffering is entering your mind. The first one is psychological pain. So this is basically your mind traveling to the past and just dwelling on all the past experiences and your beliefs about yourself and how people react to you and la 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 la. This is the mind spinning into the past. And the other one is fear. That is basically your mind spinning into the future, or trying to anticipate dangers and threats and what will I do and what will come out and stuff like this. But when you just look at your life, every time you have been through bad experiences, you always have come out, So, fear is something always only in the future. And that's where neuroscience becomes very interesting. This is our survival mind. The mind is made up for survival. It's not made up to make you happy. And the survival mind wants to anticipate threats. The whole time it's looking out, where's danger, where's the negativity, and it always wants to reevaluate the past in the most negative way, worst case scenarios, to see what did I do wrong, what can I do better to not end up in the same bloody environment I have been. So that's your survival mind, and it's very, very helpful. We need it. Don't suppress it or something like this, but realize, okay, right now I'm in survival mind, but I want to get happy. And a lot of times the survival mind is in the way of our happiness because there are no real threats. Like big tigers walking through the streets or something like this. There are other threats we should be concerned of, but most of the time these are not the things we're thinking about, like environmental destruction and all this kind of stuff. Well, we don't want to talk about this right now. So that is our survival mind, and realize that the survival mind has a negativity bias. It is always trying to see the negative, always looking out for the threats, underestimating our potential and all this kind of stuff. So the second thing to think about is that the mind has two different states. The first is the wandering mind, the second is the activation state. So these are two different neurological networks in your brain, basically, and it's either the one or the other active in the moment. So when your mind is wandering, then a lot of times people feel like, oh, this is a nice state, I'm just, daydreaming and stuff like that. And they made a scientific research with an app, and I think 11,000 people downloaded this app. And what this app did was that in random times during the day, once a day, it sent you a push notification with 3 questions. First question was, what are you doing right now? Second was, how much are you with what you are doing in this moment? And third question was, how happy you are. And the outcome of this research was that no matter what you do, the more you are with what you are doing, the more happy you are. The less you are just, you are at work, you are daydreaming of, home, happiness is not coming. You are home, it's, you're sitting on the sofa, your mind is just daydreaming, oh, at work I did this, and how could I have done better? That's a spinning mind. And the name of the scientific studies was wandering mind is an unhappy mind. So if you are more in the wandering mind state, when your mind is not focused, then unhappiness comes, and it's even linked to depression and really unwholesome states of mind. And the second thing is, if you are in this wandering mind state, that's mainly your subconsciousness active. And when your subconsciousness is active, you are an automatic pilot. And when you are an automatic pilot, that means all the stuff which is stored in your subconsciousness is becoming active. Your negative self-beliefs, your fight and flight mechanisms, you are basically on automatic pilot, repeating the old pattern stored in your subconsciousness. But when you are in the activation mode, then your whole mind is alert, it's focused. Energy is coming, and you get into states of creativity, you get into this so-called flow states. Everybody knows what that is. That's the mind concentrated. Even, being at work, suddenly, things are just really flowing, and you have energy for the rest of the day, and you are not exhausted afterwards. So it's this beautiful state of, being really focused. So, and the question is, how do I manage to come from the state of just wandering into the flow state? How do I get away from my survival mind into, really beautiful states? How do I stop my mind from being in this negative spiral? And it's very important that you understand that when people tell me, and a lot of people come to meditation retreats like this, and they say, Christian, I need to stop my mind, it's terrible, it's killing me. These people are not talking about, my mind is producing the whole time, beautiful thoughts about, romance and and finding the right partner, and Christian, can you stop my mind from doing this? That's not the question. People come and they want to get rid of the negative mind state. So it's not the question of stopping your mind from thinking, because your mind is an organ and it's made to think. It's the same thing like your heart is meant to beat all time, and your stomach is meant to digest all the time. And nobody comes and says, can you stop my heart from beating? It's so annoying. No, it's just the nature of our mind thinking. So it's not the idea to stop thinking, it's the idea of changing the state of your mind. So how do we do that? So, method number 1, consciously change your state of mind from negative to positive. It's very difficult in the situation itself, but the more you train it, and that's the training of positive neuroplasticity. Look up somebody like Rick Hansen, one of my teachers. He's amazing to explain these kind of things. So what you try to do is to change your mind state on a day-to-day level. So practicing gratitude is one of the most powerful things day-to-day to change your mind from, that went wrong, and this is not good, and Corona, and I'm locked up, to, what do I have? The beauty which my life has, which doesn't mean that you suppress the things which are difficult in your life, but it's kind of like finding a nice balance between the things. But also when you are in the moment itself, try to change your mind by changing your posture. You see that a lot of times depressed people, when they come to you and say, it's all so terrible and my life is so miserable, they're just shrinking. And if you go like, come on, go outside, they're like, no, I cannot do this. So the question is, you can just, by the way how your body is moving, how you stand. So they made a research, when you smile, these kind of muscles get triggered, and they make pressure on glands which produce happiness hormones. So if you do like, you get happy, and that's the same thing for your whole body. The mind reacts to your body, so it's very powerful. Change your state. And a lot of times, what Anya does is when I get into a miserable state, she can say, come on, we go out, let's take the dogs. It's wonderful to have dogs, because they make you, go out every day, the best antidepressant you can think of. And so you can dance. A lot of times when I wake up in the morning and I'm a little grumpy, I just turn on the music and start, dancing and, moving my body and just really consciously changing from negative to positive, knowing that my mind has a negativity bias and that I'm just stuck. But you need to be really careful. Sometimes it's good to just be with, what is bugging you, to be able to go deeper. So make sure you don't use that as a way to suppress negative feelings. But it's a training which you can do on a day-to-day basis. Become positive. So step number 2 is, what we said is that suffering enters our mind when the mind is wandering to the past or to the future. And the number 2 really powerful step to get away from negative mind state is coming into the present moment. If you're afraid of what will be in the future, if you're just upset with yourself and everything what has happened, just stay here. Just really look around, smell the grass, see the sky, see that it's right now. Most of the time you're really okay. Like if you lose your partner, just realize that you have a house, that you have friends, and that you have been happy before you met the guy or the girl. It was not, the state was not different. So come into the present moment. And like a lot of spiritual teachers talk about the power of now, which makes all the difference in your life. And that is the activation state. Consciously getting out of the dream state, out of the mind just jumping from branch to branch, into activation, into the moment, into concentration. And concentration will lead you to flow, to really seeing what's going on. Okay, that's number 2. Step number 3. And now we are going deep, because the 3rd step is actually Vipassana meditation, meaning that you just experience everything what comes up in your consciousness, and you just label, thinking. When you work with your thinking mind, just really observe your mind from thinking and not getting sucked into the story of your thoughts. And this is what most of the time happens. So in Buddhism we say it's kind of like a train. You watch the train going by and you watch each wagon, each car going by, and you just watch it and you're not stepping in. So imagine, for example, you are on the way home in your car and it's a hot day, and then suddenly you end up in traffic jam. Everybody is kind of like trying to go in and out. Everybody's very egoistic, and anger boils up, and you just want to go home. And maybe sometimes you turn down your window. No, now you have buttons actually. You button down your window, and you go like, asshole, and you become very, very upset. So imagine you're watching the same traffic, but you are on the way to the forest and you're crossing a bridge over the street, and you look down and you see the same traffic jam, and you go like, oh, traffic jam. And then you just continue walking into the nature and you're just all happy. So that's the same thing with our thoughts. Like if you're stuck in your ego, in the me mind, this is, my heartbreak, my life, my this, my that, then, you are in the traffic jam. But the art of meditation actually means that you watch from the bridge and you go like, oh, there are thoughts, oh, there's suffering, oh, there's, pain, there's, fear and all these kind of things. And don't try to become indifferent with them. Just really become interested in, but don't get into the traffic jam. Don't get into the car, You become what we call witness consciousness. So the longer you do Vipassana meditation, you realize, wait a second, I'm not the thinker. There is the object of my observations, that is the thought in this case, and there's the observation, and then there's the observer, and we realize we cannot possibly be what we observe, because there is an object-subject relationship to these two. So that means when you become witness consciousness, you see that beyond your mind, beyond your feelings, there's something so much bigger. And this is why I love this concept of the body layers. If you start to peel layer by layer, you see something, and this is why I made this this chart. You see when you peel off one layer, something bigger appears actually. Not something smaller, something much, much bigger. And everything what has real value for your life does not come from the thinking mind. Love does not come from your thinking mind. Friendship does not come from your thinking mind. You cannot say, oh, I think this guy is like this and this and this. I think I should be his friend. This is not how it works, There's something else going on. Intuition, arts, creativity, dance, all these things don't come from your thinking mind. They made a research and asked inventors who invented something completely new on this planet, and they asked them, when did you have the idea for your invention? And 100% of them said, when I was not thinking about it. I was sitting on an apple tree and boop, it came, I was walking in nature, I was sitting on a toilet, super good place for creativity. Or they asked big composers like Beethoven and Mozart, how did you come up with these incredible symphonies? And they said, I didn't come up with it. I didn't do anything. I just heard the music and I was writing them down. So there is something where your witness consciousness is connecting with something bigger than yourself. And when you're connected with that, then your life will change completely, and then your mind will stop from spinning. And that's the same thing. Again and again, you have to see that the attachment of thoughts and feelings are causing your problems. It's the same thing when we do this project. There's so much nature destruction going on in this world, and my mind is just sometimes so upset and so worried. And I just realize it's my attachment to me, mine, and how I want the world to be. If I'm in this witness consciousness, I can just watch what's going on. I see what my part of it is and what I can change. And then I start to change what is necessary with all my energy, with all my peace in mind. When my mind is contracted, I'm of no help for other people. If my heart is open, then I can just love, then I can give, and then I can share and care. And that's what we need to do for each other, for the environment, for ourselves. And this is what the training is all about. So next week I will post the meditation, and then we go into the practice, and that's really what we need to do. We need to change our mind state so that we can change the state of the world. It's interlinked, it's interconnected with each other, and we can all make the difference. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for doing the work. It's the most important work you can do. And thank you for your support. I love you, that, and everybody who wants to jump in, support us on Patreon, donate so that this beautiful project can survive. I see you soon, and watch out, we are already preparing an Advent calendar. So from the 1st of December, 25 days, you will get posts of creativity, of arts, of making gifts, of Christmas stories and yoga and everything. So I'm just really looking forward, and we are already in the process of I'm doing and planning and stuff like this. We have some beautiful gifts for you to say thank you for all this great year and all the support. Love you.